All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am so excited for our guest today because we have none other than Mark Casper and Jason Parker from Tech for Troops. We'll be talking about that, but we're going to be talking today about providing a digital lifeline for veterans and what these guys are doing with Tech for Troops. Thanks for being here today, guys.
We love being here, Damon. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. It's a privilege.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, guys, because it's just I love being able to highlight people that are helping veterans transition, help veterans upskill, just get adjusted to the private sector. So, Mark, if we could, let's go back a little bit and talk about the origin story of Tech for Troops.
Oh, easy question there. Thank you, Damon. And hey, everybody out there in Never Never Land, Tinkerbell will be coming around here in a bit, all right? So Tech for Troops started by a mother and her son, and literally a Marine came back from Afghanistan, couldn't find a job, sleeping on their couch, didn't have a computer, and he was borrowing the son's computer all the time, which is, probably he was doing more than borrowing it since he was a Marine, and got a job. But that was literally the genesis of Tech for Troops. Is the mom and the son were like, hey, why don't we do something like this for transitioning active duty out? And they started out, of course, at the kitchen table, went to their garage, went to a storage unit, and then they went to the place where we are at this time.
Yeah, so tell us about what you guys are doing. I mean, you got a couple parts of your business. You guys are a nonprofit. You are helping the veterans, but just tell us a bit about your operations.
You bet. So we have 4 programs. Really, the floor of the program is what I call it is guaranteed data destruction. So we have a hard drive shredder. We're HIPAA NIST or DoD certified for our wiping. If it fails the wiping, we shred it. We do reel to reels. We actually get a lot of tapes in. We get in thumb drives, and people want us to destroy that kind of stuff. So we do. And then we start out with what Jason does, and he'll be talking about this in a second, so I won't give it all away, is our game core, which you see the little logo next to him to his left, which looks like there you go. Game Corps, aiming for zero veteran suicide prevention. And it's not just veterans, it's everybody, right? Because suicide doesn't just affect the person who does it. It's that ripple effect out for everybody. The next thing that we do is workforce development. At this moment, we have online training for veterans, up to 5,000 free classes. So if they went to our T4Teducation.org, that's T4Teducation.org, they would go to our webpage, they could register, and then take everything from Microsoft Office on down to leadership, all sorts of stuff, OSHA training. And then we do in-person training with computers, and then veterans actually get computers from us as well throughout the United States, around the world. We've been and shipped to Guam, Puerto Rico, and someplace in the Middle East. I'm going to say Abu Dhabi, but I'm not real sure. So we do some international stuff. And then the last thing that we do is our recycling program, which is for the last 10 years. I've been working it for 9 years. In the last 10 years, the Tech for Troops has been open, and we have responsibly reused or recycled 1.5 million tons of e-waste, keeping it out of the landfill, using it for the veterans, whether we're going to sell it because we get in stuff that people don't want. And my oldest piece of equipment is a 1926 dictaphone. We have TTY machines in, so we don't want that to go into the landfill. We actually keep a lot of that from my museum and stuff. So those are the 4 things that we do, and I'll leave it back to you.
So I've got to ask, you've got a museum. I mean, you're bringing up a museum here.
Yeah.
So what's your museum have in it?
Jason knows more about it than I do in terms of stuff. I know we have like reel to reel. We have a rotary phone. We have 2 TTY machines. We have an 8-track player. We have a Mac Egg, so the old colored ones from the 90s. We have old hard drives from the mid 80s that are like kilobytes, and they're incredibly gorgeous because the engineering that went into the boards are just beautiful. Jason, what else? You know some of the other things that we have.
There's a classic Walkman, of course, which to me, I'm not totally convinced that it isn't my Walkman. I just haven't seen it around for a while, but I guess it does kind of belong in the pile. There's an oscilloscope straight off of a Navy ship.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Forgot about that.
Whoever donated that, I don't want Suppo to come looking too close, because I'm sure something. Mark was saying that we do have the wax reel dictaphone. That's really cool to see.
Yep.
And then we have kind of every iteration of when Steve Jobs got his hands back on Apple, and so the colored clamshells, and then we have the two
all those
colors, and then we go so far as one of my personal favorites, the half basketball with the rotating screen around. Those are a lot of fun, and I mean, they just lead to more projects that we can do. We've had a number of different things. We've remade one of the iMacs with the floating display screen into a photo frame. We can tweak them out, or if we find others in that vein. There's some neat projects to turn one of the old Apple IIGSs into a fish tank. So as soon as we have one more, I don't want to take the museum piece, but I'd love to do some experimentation with one of our vets, see what we can make.
So one of the things, Damon, I want to do is get a young intern in, whether it's college or high school, inventory everything. What is it? What speed is it? Does it turn on? All that kind of stuff. And then go to the local, what would be the state level movie guys, right? Ones when somebody like Tom Cruise wants to come in and do a movie, they need a 1926 dictaphone. Well, we have one.
Yeah.
Right. And then I would want to give me $1 million a day. I'm a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
But at the very end of that movie, whatever it is, will be a tech for troops, and we'll be forever, ever legacy that way.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, Dave Rosenberg commented here. He goes, "Do you have any sound powered phones?"
I think we do. I can't swear to it. I do have multiple head injuries, but I'm pretty sure I'd bet not my whole next paycheck, but part of it.
Yeah,
I think we do.
I've never even heard of that. I know we have like old Morse code walkie-talkies, regular walkie-talkies.
Wow.
We have
So the sound powered phones are still used on board the ship. They're exactly that. They are sound powered, so you never really run out of the batteries on them. I remember one of the hazing tasks was to go find batteries for the sound powered phones.
Oh my.
I knew I was being hazed, but what are you going to do? I just kind of went with it. Yeah, I'll go look for 20 yards of flight line. I'll see you.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, that's cool that you guys are seeing this and actually getting to recycle some of history right there and to see it and protect some of that. So as you're doing this, I mean, this is a cool model that you guys have, because the recycling and the donations of the tech stuff helps you to fund part of your programs and those kind of things to help with that. And that's really cool, because it's a big deal with a nonprofit. So when you guys are on an annual basis, do you get most of your donations from large donors, large corporations that are trying, that they've got old assets that they get rid of in big lots, or is it people here and there sending them, or what's the way that you usually do it?
So in terms of the numbers, it comes from individuals.
Okay.
We have a drop-off door. People come in, they ring the doorbell. We help them get everything out of their cars. But then we also have large corporate donors who say, come pick up. So it goes both ways. We get banks and doctors and lawyers and
nice.
Some larger Fortune 20 companies.
Yeah.
Have been very good to us as well. And it's just one of those things where I am always shocked, pleased, and humbled that somebody looks at us and says, we trust you. We know you're going to do the right thing because of our data destruction processes and policies, and that they do bring us their stuff. And if there ever is a question, we have the documentation to back it up, all the way down to the serial number for the hard drives.
All right.
And we have videos of the serial numbers being shredded. So, I mean, there's a lot there that people trust us with.
Awesome.
I'd like to bring up and mention, as far as GameCore goes, as far as our veteran suicide, we work pretty closely with two massive powerhouses as far as our donors that make a lot of this possible. Predator Gaming is one of the premier. They're out there. They're among Alienware, some of the others there, and they're kind of the niche gaming company out of Acer. And we have a very close relationship with them. They're unbelievable to work with and have some of the coolest toys I've had the privilege of using. And then, of course, AMD, when we were first starting out, they have a military salute program. So they were just kind of sourcing different nonprofits and stumbled upon us. And they were really there for the genesis of what we're doing. And so a lot of our donations, we do have some individual people. It's incredibly generous, and we'll always take those, of course, because there are uses for them. But we've had Predator Gaming step up in such a way that once we've cleared the space and the necessary things are in play, the cost to do that doesn't come directly out of the veterans.
Right.
And that's huge.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then we have AMD backing us up. We have 2 rigs right now with model numbers. I can't find them because they're too advanced for what they are. So we've got a lot of horsepower driving what we're doing, and I just feel a lot of support from AMD and Acer as far as it goes with the gaming side.
Yeah, I was
awesome.
talking with some of the rigs that we got in from AMD. We got 2 of them in. I didn't know it. I mean, I'm not as techie as Jason is. He's much more way above where I am at. But we have DDR6 RAM.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's very cutting edge because all my folks were like, "Oh my, sir, what 6?" Yeah, so I'm sure it's pretty.
That's cool.
I don't know. It's got flashy lights in it, so I just go, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah,
definitely does.
That's awesome. So as you guys are, we're talking today about providing a digital lifeline for veterans. I mean, we can't talk about veterans without acknowledging the fact, and you've got it. You talk about it a lot, Jason, in what you help with Tech for Troops is veteran suicide. And that's something that I know that's not what you guys do directly, but you do indirectly. So what are some of the things that you see as people get involved with you that helps them, brings them, I don't know, closer to away from that? I don't know. It's just,
sure.
It's
sure. It's a very astute observation. And right now we're kind of in the worst of it, from the end of the holidays, which are always incredibly stressful, through to when it starts getting actual light again, and the nights don't last as long. These are really the dark days. There are a lot of the guys, and it doesn't have to be something that you grew up with, but seasonal affective disorder can develop over time. I've found that since I've transitioned, I was a medic in the Army, so I spent a lot of time outside. But as my life progressed and it was more inside and inside, I felt myself much more affected by seasonal affective disorder. And it was only through therapy, which I'll always be the biggest proponent of, that it's not a fault of mine. It's not anything I did wrong, but this is something that you fix it and you drive on. And so one of the things that our biggest strength as far as Game Corps goes, as far as pulling veterans kind of out of that darkness, is just a peer-to-peer network that gets where you're coming from. Being a medic, like I said, the most important item you have in your entire kit is triage, because you're going to treat what needs to be treated. And everybody in the service goes through a basic amount of first aid, but it's through our experiences that we learn for a kind of mental first aid. And it's fantastic that we have as many guys as we have that have volunteered and stepped up. We have a Twitch platform where we are an affiliated supporter, and it's one of those opportunities for some of these veterans that are feeling inconsequential, feeling isolated, to step out and, they're on a platform now where a couple hundred people are watching, or something they're saying matters. something that they're doing is affecting other people. And if it's the dopamine rush from playing World of Warships like we do, then fantastic. That's going to get you through to the next day to seek that help. But it's that initial connection that that we're there for, and it's the time after. Because when you're stuck in treatment, when you're going through rehab, when you're in a dark place and it's your apartment wall to wall, and it's the middle of January, you need to step outside, at least in your mind, a little bit. And we're all there. We are there in those later hours after visiting has ended on the wards. I've been there. It's a lonely place, but we're there just kind of hanging out. We're always playing some type of ridiculous video game, whether it's from actual as close to NASCAR as you can get with the IWM broadcast network. We air that on YouTube every Wednesday night. But we also play a game called Placid Plastic Duck Simulator, where every 2 minutes a new duck dressed as a different thing drops down. And we're not there. Well, some of us are there for the ducks, but what I'm saying is this is more just it's an open conversation.
Yeah.
And if you're having those problems, if you're going through that stuff, one of the strengths that that we've set up with GameCore and Mark and Tech for Troops have allowed us the freedom to do that is any of our moderators on our Discord or our streamers on our platform have gone through the very basic of crisis intervention. So if something comes down to play, these folks, they're all, if they are not a veteran and have been vetted through and through and given the okay, then they are a family member or a civilian that has some connection to the military that we vetted again. So they're to be trusted. And not only that, but they've gone through a 3-hour in-person or online, it was their choice, VA Saves class, which really addresses what you need to do. And what we are there as that link to 988, option 1. If you are a veteran, if you are a family member of a veteran, if you are in crisis, 988, option 1, bar none. But if you don't know you're in crisis, if you just think the day dredges one after another, nothing changes, and you're just supposed to feel this way because of what happened to you during the military, what happened around you during the military, that's not the way it should be. And I'm there to say that I was one of those guys. And now a lot of my strength comes from the ability to reach back out and say, even if you're not bleeding in a gutter, I get that you can be at the lowest point of your life. Yeah. And there are still people that get that.
Yeah. And there's people that care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's what Jason brings to the table through GameCore Aiming for Zero. Jason, I don't know the number, but if you would enlighten the audience.
It's 15 lives that we've saved over the past it's 17 months now. Wow. So yeah, that's significant, and that stretches across the United States at this point. A couple of our the guys that have joined our cause went through some dark times right up near your area. So we have a reach that is it's becoming impressive, I like to think.
Yeah. And and veterans that are in this situation are everywhere, because what's the current statistic now on suicides daily for veterans?
It's between it's 15.6, which I never understand how they come up with decimal points for this.
Yeah.
But it's between that and 19 or so.
Yeah.
And I mean, Aiming for Zero is our line because any number other than 0 is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with it being the holidays, it'll go up above 19.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It might get up to 25, 27. And the one thing that we are pushing towards and want to do and are working towards is the on base training accidents that happen that are not training accidents, but are actually somebody doing the unthinkable in their room. And we're trying to get on bases to have a face-to-face with the men and women who self-isolate. So that is part of one of our I should say it's one of our goals through Aiming for Zero, is to help the active duty as well with this.
That's great.
That's a hard nut to crack because they don't want to admit.
Yeah. Because it
Well,
happens.
and this is, as Mark was saying, it's incredibly difficult for all sides on this. When it comes to the pen and paper of it all, we are Army property, and you tried to destroy Army property. But on the other hand, this isn't somebody that's going to be fixed by putting them in a dark room and telling them to feel better or else. And then that a lot of things need new categorization, and it's not a matter of trying to fix them in the system that they're in, but it's just as we're finding out, it's when it comes to mental health, it's a system unto itself, and it's not that the old one needs to be fixed, it's that a new one needs to be created. And so we're trying real hard, but it's not, I want to fault the military industrial complex, but as a reasonable person, I can't fault them too much. This is something that we never really considered dealing with. I know it's always happened and it's become more prevalent lately, but I don't think it's something that we paid enough active thought to.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too far off topic here, but I when you look back through history and you think World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and we had World War II, especially hundreds of thousands of people come back from military service. I can't see why we weren't overrun by this in those days, and I don't know why. And that's one of the things that I constantly, in my mind, question myself. I said, what are we missing? Because was it happening? We didn't pay attention, or I don't know. But
I think the pure and simple to that is just now we have more knowledge than we've ever had available, and we can see what's happening around us way more easily than we could have.
And I'd add in that's just quite honestly, if you think back in time, the men and women back then and prior to were much tougher than we are today. Right? I mean, you look at a World War I vet and how did you get through that? And you came back, you became successful. Not everybody did, but you became successful. And it wasn't because they were namby-pambied and, went to the hospital every other day or whatever it was. It was because they wore wool suits in the summertime.
I don't
know.
I
mean, they were tough.
Yeah, it's something to think about, though. I mean, for me, and I loved hearing what you guys are doing. I mean, your game core I think is brilliant, because what's easier for someone to do than game? I mean, it's easy to do. It's easy to get on Twitch and watch other gamers, to comment, to talk, and it's not like I'm in a room with a bunch of people that are talking about their problems. We're just watching a game. We're having some fun, and I can get a little bit of a break from my life, my situation for a moment, and then your people that are trained can be helping them if they see the signs or the things that they need to over time, and really help them. That's cool as heck.
Yeah,
it's you were going to be there doing that anyway. Why not do it? And I mean, the genesis, exactly like you said, if you have them, they're captured and they're going to hang out just like they're watching a sports game. This all came from my son moved away to Twin Falls, Idaho, when he was about 5 years old. And no 5-year-old wants to talk to you on the phone. But I got him a Nintendo Wii, and I figured out that if I played him in Mario Kart, I could keep him on the phone for 5 hours. And eventually he was going to talk to me about his day.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I looked at that and I was like, most of the guys I've worked with are about the same maturity level as a male 5-year-old. I bet this will work for them too. And I don't want to brag, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, how many people do you have participating in a daily, weekly basis on the Game Core?
So one of our strongest numbers that I like to tout is that we have about 57 people that are active at any given moment on the Discord. It's 57 people either watching the same game being played, talking about something in a chat room. As far as our total Discord numbers, I would love it if they were higher. They go through ebbs and flows. Right now, we're at about 450 or so. The goal is to be over 1,000.
Yeah.
If we can get over 1,000, then you become publicly searchable on the internet. And one of the biggest phenomena that's begun to occur when it comes to self-inflicted, excuse me, suicide, is that they'll typically search for the effects, the pain level, ways to commit it. And my hope is that by making our group publicly searchable, when you're then searching what's the best way for me to do the worst thing, instead of a result for that we would come up and say, let's not think about that right now. Let's think a little bit more along the terms of what are other options you might have, and kind of funnel them onto us. So that's been my driving excuse me, my driving goal is to get our Discord above 1,000. Our Twitch has 578 subscribers, so we're doing very well. Our Twitch events are well attended. We're very proud of them. And as the program grows, you can tell that our technical proficiency is it's growing as well. We started at the bottom, but we're earning our way up there.
That's nice. That's nice. So, Mark, you're leading the charge here. What makes you excited about what Jason and they're doing with the Game Core?
So what makes me excited is, I got out of the Marine Corps in '87. A bunch of my buddies around that same time, right? We all went in at different times and came out. But suicide affects you when you hear of a friend doing it. And about 3 years ago, actually it was 2022, so 2 years ago, a buddy of mine, he was a good man. He decided to lay against a tree and took his head off.
Yeah.
And at that moment, Jason was, I don't think you were with us yet. I don't remember if you were
I feel like I would remember it. So probably not.
And it really affected me. So when we were literally in a staff meeting, and Jason just hired, probably there for what, a month and a half, 2 months maybe. And I don't game. I this thing with your hands, I can't do. I stand up and put quarters in machines and do this. I'm really good at that. But I was like, hey, everybody, I want to have a gaming tournament. How do we do that? Jason's like, me. Like a little kid popped up like a gopher jumped out of a hole. And I'm like, okay, that's up to you to figure it out. And this is where he took it. We went to do a gaming tournament. He actually took it to this next level, probably about 12 levels up, to turn it into aiming for zero suicide prevention. And I always go back and I think about my Marine Corps buddy, Mike, who is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And there's many ways to commit suicide, of course, right? Drinking yourself to death, putting a car into a tree, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I know there's others, but that's the one you can look at and go, yep, the cops can say this is what happened. So it makes my heart glad. It's soul satisfying knowing when he comes in, usually on a Monday, maybe on a Tuesday, like, hey, we just had another interaction last night and here we go. We're at this, or I'm talking to somebody. And I'm like, Jason, we're at 12, right? And he's like, no, we're at 14 now. And I'm like,
yeah,
holy crap, what happened? How did we do that? And my goal for him is to make this an national, it already is national, but I mean like a nationally known program. So when the VA has an issue, he's the expert. When private institution, mental health institutions have an issue, he's the expert to say, what did you do and how did you do it? Let's hire you in to make this happen and all that kind of stuff. So we're moving in that direction. It's a slow move because there's a lot going on besides game core, right? Tech for Troops is at a place now where we have to buy a building or at least a new building, but long-term lease, like 20 to 30 years type of thing. And I need triple the space. I have about 8,000 now. I need at least 20 to 24,000 square feet.
Nice.
And our box truck was just wrapped. We want to expand into multiple localities across the country. So, I mean, there's so much going on that I need to put more time, effort, energy into working with Jason to make this happen. And it might happen this year, but we're gonna get to a place where folks are gonna go, what? We're already doing the what, but it's gonna be like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Because he comes in and says, what about this? I'm like, make it happen.
Very cool.
It's just things like we bought a driving rig for the NASCAR thing, and I'm like, why are we going to use this? Well, here's what we can do, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, make it happen, right? And we spend the money to do it because it makes sense. It's common sense in my book. Now, yes, that is a hard thing to do budget wise, but at the same time, if it makes sense and eventually we can recapture those funds, we're going to do it.
Very cool. So if we're sitting here talking today about Tech for Troops and the game core that you guys are doing that to help veterans and all your different things, your data destruction, your e-recycling of tech products, and then your training and workforce development for veterans. What are some of the things that someone's listening today that could really help you? The corporate executive that might have access to things, the individual, just tell us what you guys need, because let's see if we can't get some of it coming your way.
You bet. So we can always use computer equipment stuff, right? And it doesn't have to be laptops or desktops. We take servers, routers, switches. We don't like printers. Printers are considered e-waste. I mean, like they're toxic because of the inks and the toners and stuff. We'll take those for a fee. Flat screen TVs for a fee because they're so cheap today. You can't really fix them anymore. But what we need is access to CIOs, CTOs, foundations that are willing to support the veteran community and to be able to sponsor us, to supply us with the funds to expand. So we want to be able to have Jason expand and do events all over the country, have multiple driving rigs at NASCAR in Dallas, right? Boom, they're driving and he's got 4 rigs going. And the reason why we're there is because of that, but we're also talked about because of the same thing that we're doing in the suicide prevention. It's not just doing events and, let's have some fun. It's no, here's what we're doing and here's why. So we do that. We want to have locations in Tampa, Dallas, San Antonio, Seattle would be a great place. All over Las Vegas, just all over, so we can do what we do in person. And that way the vets aren't like, well, that doesn't apply to me. I can't get there. Yeah, you can. We're within, walking distance of wherever you live now, because that's really where we need to be as Tech for Troops, where you're at, because we need to be there for you. And that's really our goal.
Yeah.
The digital version of the USO, if you will.
Yeah. The digital version of the USO. I love that.
Yep. And for I can't answer for Jason what that answer is. I mean, Jason, what do you need? What are you looking for?
So when it comes to it, we have just massive amounts of enthusiasm, but we would be looking for any type of endowment or grant that we are eligible for, as far as the mental health applications for it. When it comes down to it, cash donations are best. We are incredibly lucky that we have a lot of the gear to work with, but it just comes down to the ability to mobilize us and get enough people, bring some of those veterans into paid positions where they're not only making this content, but we're actually putting them on to better, higher positions within the same thing. So those funds are essential.
I don't know the gentleman's name, but up in your area, Damon, we have a gentleman who is um, twice now. We've had to, Jason did, right, help him out, and he went in to see a therapist, and therapy's like, I need to put you away, type of thing, and it didn't happen. Right, the guy got out, walked out, whatever it was. But my goal after hearing that from Jason is to find a way to get him to a treatment center that's not going to treat him like a number,
Yeah.
not going to treat him like a cash cow, but going to try and help him out. And it's going to take, my guess, Jason, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it's going to take 4 to 6 months for this guy. It's not going to be in, out. And I want to somehow, and it's not going to be part of our mission. It never will, because that's not who we are. But I need to have somebody who's within the sound of my voice saying, where's he at? Where do you want to send them? And there's a treatment center in Texas that I know of, and a treatment center in Virginia that I know of that has a very high success rate. And get him either to Texas or Virginia, pay for his stay, and then get him back where he should be.
Yeah.
Because we owe it to him.
Yes.
And that's what my ask would be, is how do we, it's not going to be our mission. How do we, though, get in with those folks who have the same passion and the same knowledge and the same opportunities to support our vets who are in crisis, who need our help, but don't have the funds to be able to say, all right, I'll put 30 grand out. I have no idea what the amount is. I'll put 30 grand out to make this happen, because I need to be better, and I want to be there for my wife and my children. I don't want to be the deadbeat dad or the guy who comes home and he drinks himself to sleep every night, because that's not who I am, but I don't know what else to do. How do we change this? And we can do that. We can, if the country gets behind us, that there are well-pocketed men and women who have a family member or even themselves who went through it, and they're willing to step up and say, let's talk, and here's how we're going to do it. And if we could get somebody like that, I would, Jason will be over the moon, and we'll be serving a lot.
Yeah, I think
I would love to be able to expand our reach to be able to have face-to-face contact in all the places where it's necessary.
Yeah. Because it's not just in the city centers; it's all over that these people are living, and it's great. I gotta say, the first step with you guys being the Discord, the Twitch, the game core, that's a big step, because I can be wherever basically and get on.
Right.
That's a huge thing. Because a lot of these people are sitting, it could be down the street from me right now, down the street from you, or out in the middle of, remote area, and they can get on and be there. That's one of the things that I think is very cool about this. But finding the right people. So if someone's listening out there, I want to make sure that you get on the Tech for Troops site, and Tech for Troops, TECHFOR troops.org, right? Got it. I wanted to make sure I had it right. I wrote it down, but it's on another page here. So, well, let's talk a bit more about your workforce development, because I think this is cool. You guys are doing this. You're helping the veterans get their skills refined so that they can go out and find employment and do other things with their lives. Let's talk about that a little bit. Part of what you guys are doing. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I hit
There
the button. We have the one facility in Richmond, but we actually travel. I've been to Texas and Wisconsin and other places training vets on how to use a computer. That's that basic computer literacy that we do. It's workforce development, because if you don't know how to turn a computer on, you're not getting a job.
Yeah.
Right. I get that piece, but we also added in the 5,000 free classes. So as Jason has said, or he's not yet, not tonight, but he has said in the past in other places that he's taking like the OSHA training.
Yeah.
I mean, that just put that on your resume. You can make that, and it's free. You get certified in OSHA, and then it's free that it goes on your resume. So it's things like that that we're trying to do to take the vet and active duty transitioning out to that next level. We don't create resumes. We don't write resumes for you. That is somebody else's job. But we know a lot of people, and a lot of people want to hire vets. And I'm always telling the classes as they come in, let me know if you're looking for a job. What do you want to do? I want to be a bus driver. Guess what? I know the people that ride the bus, make the buses go around Richmond. send me your resume. And we'll do that. And we actually have a guy who used to work for me. He's now at the Pentagon. He's a GS-13, I believe it is, doing really, really well. Another one who was homeless, living in his car when I hired him. He now is at the NOC, the Network Operations Center at Fort Gregg Adams, doing really, really well. And another, I call him a kid. He's my son because he calls me Papa. He drove up in an Audi. This was last year. And I'm like, dude, you went from literally homelessness to being successful in an Audi. And so, yeah, the workforce development is real, and we have success stories out there for it. And it's fun because Chris comes up and calls me Papa. And I'm like, dude, right? It's fun. But at the same time, I'm proud as a peach, right? Because he took himself from a place where because I literally kicked him in the butt a couple of times physically. Now, of course, nobody can prove that, so he can't sue me.
Yeah.
But I did, because I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing that when you should be studying? I know, Papa. I know. So, I tug him by the ear, kick him in the butt, make him do the right thing. And he got his certs, and now he's successful.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes, is somebody to care.
Yeah. In the right environment too. I mean, you guys, being there, understanding where they're coming from. And I'm sure the people that are doing the classes too, and in the game core, it really helps reinforce things a lot too.
It does. And Jason, tell them you're the educator as well. We run a small ship.
Yeah.
But we are powerful.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. I mean, you can teach anyone anything if they care about the material. And a lot of games now, a lot of our technology is more integrated. So you don't necessarily need a $400 console or a $5,000 gaming computer. They do now what's called game streaming. So an Xbox controller knows what a computer is if you plug one of those in. So I'll tell the guys while they're getting their computers, look, if you pay attention to this stuff and you sign up for this Microsoft account, then you can actually log into Xbox and be playing Madden later today. And all of a sudden, everything I say matters. And there's 2 rows of people hanging wrapped on my every word. They didn't know that was a possibility. So one of my specialties is finding how a lot of the different technologies work together, how you can use one tech to teach another.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
He's good at it too.
So as you guys, I mean, we're here at the beginning of 2025. What are you guys excited for this year?
Oh, golly. Do you really want me to go there?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I firmly believe that we are going to either have a contract in place to move, or we're going to be towards the end of the year, because it takes time to move from building to building, be moving into a place.
Nice.
That's the first thing, right? So we're at 8,000. We need 25,000. The second thing is that we will have a location on a local military base soon, and just waiting on the building maintenance folks, or whatever their title is, to find the building for us. And I'm like, look, you don't get to pick my building. I want to have say in that building, because I need to make sure there's certain things. I don't want to go into a moldy, damp, nasty place and then clean it up for you. So those conversations are going on, but that's going to happen soon, and we'll be able to announce to the world that we're on a military base, right? We have 2 locations.
Nice.
Jason and I started a training facility up at Catholic University with the Veterans Upward Bound program, and they want us to continue classes up there. We also have a location now coming at the beach, Virginia Beach area, I should say, Newport News, where we have a location where classes can be held there. So, I mean, we're expanding. And then the other part of that is that I firmly believe we'll be looking at expansion to other locations. It'll be towards the end of the year, but it's going to happen. And then there's one other thing that I posted out on LinkedIn. Like, we have a big banner thing that, and I can't say anything yet, because I want to be, I'm going to be streaming when we show this and where it's going to be at, but it's going to be, folks are going to be like, what did you think of? And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm so looking forward to that. Jason, how about you? Where are you going to be at here
Jason.
on January 15th?
I'm really I am dedicated to and very much hoping that GameCore is going to grow its digital platform and its digital domain. We've been missing a well functioning website for some time now, so we're taking some time and dedicating that, building that up and building GameCore into more of a just kind of a bigger, as far as what apps that we're available in and different avenues to reach the people that may need to hear what we're saying, looking at a podcast and other things. And then just on a personal note, my son's graduating high school and it's going to be joining the Navy. So I'm getting excited to drive to Idaho and see that happen. So I hope it's a good year, but I have high hopes.
And one more thing, Damon. I mean, I do have my number for last year, 2023. Well, back up, 2024 just left. We haven't done our taxes yet, but for 2023, our overhead was at 14%.
Oh, wow.
So we're
incredible.
very, very low, right, for what we do and how big we are and how much we do.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. But my hope is that folks can start seeing that how Tech for Troops works, what we do, how we do it is worthy of being supported, because there's a lot of folks out there who don't understand what the digital divide is, what a computer means in a family's life, whether it's the husband, the wife, or the children. It doesn't, if the kid can't do the schoolwork, then they're not going to be successful in life. Yeah. And if the dad can't get online or the mom can't get online and do homework for their college or whatever they're doing, they're not going to be successful in life. Yeah. You know, I went to school in the days when you went to the computer at the library to get your work done. And that sucked because I was away from home hours upon hours doing my schoolwork. You don't have to do that anymore. You can do it straight from your home with Tech for Troops, laptops or desktops, and make it happen.
Nice. Well, I just want to thank you guys for being here today. Again, we're talking with Mark Casper and Jason Parker from Tech for Troops. Again, Tech, TechForTroops.org. I want you to get out there, support them if you can. Reach out to them, figure out if there are ways that you can work together. And if you're another group that's helping veterans, because I have some people who listen to that once in a while, hey, reach out, because there are things that you might be able to collaborate and do some good stuff together. I just want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing to help the veterans. And I just wish you all the best. And if we can help in any way, let us know, guys.
You got it, Damon. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks,
well,
Damon.
I want to thank everyone for listening today. Dave for stopping by, dropping a comment in there right away, and John, comment here just at the end. Thanks so much. And we are going to be back again next week. Guys, hang out with me shortly offline. We'll wrap up.
You got it.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.